54th ANC's National Elective Conference. It is day 2. It is still early morning. We'll see how easy the credential or difficult that process will continue to be this morning. But let's take you back there where our team is standing by. All right, thanks very much to you, Pearl. We continue with our discussion with my two guests, Professor Seepe as well as Melanie Favot. Melanie, you were just speaking about Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and your thoughts, and you'll possibly just add, I know that you'll be rushing just soon, but also on the Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa.
Look, I mean, he obviously he was in the country. He comes more from the trade union, as we saw from the clip. He really became part of our consciousness in the broader public's consciousness during CODESA, the Rolf and Cyril show. He is Mr. CODESA. He is the one who helped us to get to a democracy in the sense of a constitutional democracy. And yes, so for that sense, people love him. He's very charismatic. We know the opinion polls show very high of him. The people around the country like him. And yes, so, I mean, he's been criticized throughout his campaign a little bit for not standing up enough for certain issues. And I think that is a problem that he tries, and exactly because that's his personality, he tries to resolve matters, etc. Look, I mean, I think in general there'd be big celebrations, and particularly from the business community, of course, if he does win. He's generally perceived to be more market-friendly, more business-friendly. We need to see if it actually is that way, if he does become president. But I think in general, yes, there would be, from the business community, a lot of happiness if he wins.
Looking at the support that the two candidates have received, I guess probably what would be your thoughts? Does it come as no surprise that Dr. Dlamini-Zuma got a lot of support from the Women's League and the ANC, as well as the Youth League? I mean, they came out a long time ago to say that she was going to be their preferred candidate and that they were going to support her campaign to become president. While on the other hand, you had Mr. Ramaphosa, the union, COSATU, the SACP, although they're not pronounced, but they were with COSATU in their support for him.
Nothing of that was surprising, I think. And we do have to remember, of course, and I get that a lot, the point is, though, that COSATU and the SACP can't actually vote here, despite being part of the alliance. Yeah. So even though there was a lot of noise around that, they can't actually vote. But equally so also that the Youth League and all the leagues actually just make up about 1% of the vote. So also there's a lot of noise around that. I don't think the way that the nominations went was really surprising, except maybe that people were caught a little bit surprised that Cyril Ramaphosa got so many branch nominations. Exactly how that's going to pan out, well, we'll know most probably not later today, but certainly by tomorrow.
Melanie, thanks very much. Prof, let me come back to you now. Just speaking about the two candidates, obviously there's a lot of good that we've spoken about on Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, as well as the Deputy President. But of course, equally, as we heard in those two profiles, there's been talk about Dr. Dlamini-Zuma being seen as a proxy for President Zuma, while on the one hand, Deputy President Marugana is another issue that still haunts him.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that at least SABC ran a clip around Nkosazana, because this country, we have become so chauvinistic. We have not given her, the credit about her as an individual. And the people forget, and she also reminds people that I'm the same person who was appointed by Mandela. I'm the same person who was appointed by Mbeki. I was the same person who was appointed by Kgalema and Jacob Zuma. And the issues were never raised about my marriage or somebody. And what is interesting, we don't do that with men. We don't hold their ex-wives and look at the conditions of our ex-wife and then start attributing that. So I think there's a bit of unfairness. And I think some of the media people like Peter Bruce were saying, but if you want to know where she stands, why don't you ask her? Why don't you read it through a different lens? So I think you guys have done a positive thing. But also I think on Cyril, you've done also a good thing.
All right. Hold your thought, Prof. I'm just going to go back now to my colleague in Ntakwana. She's standing by with the president of the ANC Youth League, Collen Maine.
Indeed, we are still here in the gardens of Nasrec, and I'm just going to finish my conversation with Collen. Collen, tell me, in terms of the policy documents that are up for discussion here, what are the main issues that stand out for the Youth League?
Well, in the last policy conference, we did make a number of suggestions or put forward a number of policy proposals. One of that was the issue of free education, and then the President has addressed it yesterday, as expected. One of the issues we are mainly pushing is 40% set aside for young people in all economic opportunities, 40% representation of young people in all legislatures, councils, and all of that. We also advancing that we should scrap experience as a requirement to all entry-level positions in government and in the private sector, for that matter, because you go to school, get a degree, you don't necessarily have an experience, so you sit home. So we are advancing for that. We're also pushing for the creation of the state-owned bank, and we are reaffirming the resolutions of the Youth League as adopted by the 24th National Congress and reaffirmed by the 25th National Congress, like nationalization of all key sectors of the economy, expropriation of land without compensation. We're still there. We also want speedily implementation of the national health insurance.
But when you talk about expropriation without compensation, we had the President yesterday saying that after the consultations that have happened, there is a position on expropriation, but with compensation.
Well, our position is without compensation, and we'll push it. The President is not a spokesperson of the Youth League. We will advance that in Congress, and we are confident that we'll be able to garner enough support for such resolutions to be passed. The delegates in the main, 90% of the people who are in the hall are young people. We may be differing in terms of leadership preference, but on the issues that affect young people and that affect the economy, we agree.
But of course, some people criticize the ANC for delaying on implementation. How confident are you that this time around things will be different?
Yes, we must accept that part of the problems in the organization is that we do have very good policies and we take good resolutions. Just like the announcement the President made yesterday, it was a decision taken already in Polokwane. 10 years down the line is only when implementation is effected. So I think that the kind of leadership that must come in must be a bit younger leadership and people who are committed to implement decisions and resolutions of the African National Congress. Because if we are to assess or judge leadership, it should be to the extent to which they have implemented the resolutions of Congress.
Now, if I can get you to where the other head, you come from the Northwest. Are you by any chance disheartened by the events that have led to some of the delegates from Bujanala not coming to this conference?
We understand what is happening. You know, the judgments on the eve of Congress in the 3 provinces, well calculated, well planned. And our problem will continue to raise it. If it means we must be arrested, we must be arrested. The judiciary, it's overreaching. The judiciary is becoming very political. The judiciary want to determine what must happen in the country. They don't want to operate in terms of the dictates of the Constitution, but also they are becoming part of our own political battles within the organization. They take a posture, just like the media, that they would support a particular candidate. If that does not happen, they will use their courts to want to throttle us. But we must warn them that that agenda which they seek, they represent, that we know about, it will collapse. It will not see the light of the day here. We'll crush it.
That is the president of the Youth League, Collen Maine, almost echoing what the president said yesterday about us, the media, as well as the judiciary. But we are still in the gardens of Nasrec, and we will talk to the delegates as they come in and also to find out what they're feeling after last night and what they're expecting to happen this morning. It's back to you in studio.